although I'd been watching booktube videos for a long time, there's so much more.
Books and coffee, that's all I need. Lost in a world of fantasy. Oh, indeed, from sci-fi thrillers to romance tales and horror stories that make me wail.
Hi lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hermie and this is a bookish channel with a little bit of finding myself along the way. Today's video is going to be a bit of a booktube guide. So I'm relatively new in terms of like my life. I've only been in this community for just over a year now, and in the beginning what was really helpful was being able to join in live sprints and chat to people, and this whole new world was opened up to me through the booktube space. So although I'd been watching booktube videos for a long time, there's so much more that you can access here. I wanted to kind of put it all together a little bit into a video so that if you're new to the community, or maybe you've been around a while but you've only been watching videos and are kind of intrigued as to what else there is, or maybe you've been hanging out in sprints and you're kind of intrigued to see what else there is, I thought I'd put it all together here so that you can have something to guide yourself through all of the options and maybe see what else you're interested in joining in with. What do I want to talk about first? That's a good question. Okay. First of all, we'll talk about sprints, because this is the biggest thing that I feel like the booktube community provides that kind of connects everything else. It's kind of the hub of where you get all your news and your what's going on, what's coming up, how you find out about other channels and things like that. So what are reading sprints? If you haven't joined in a reading sprint before, basically they are a live stream where the person whose channel that's running it, they will go live and you can join in the chat and you'll focus on reading or productivity or whatever it is that you're getting done that day for maybe an hour, might be 45 minutes, might be an hour and a half, and then you'll chat in between. The amount of time that you concentrate for is variable depending on the channel and the sprinter. Some sprinters will change things up. Some sprinters are very religious and will have a 45-minute sprint with a 10-minute chat, or something along those lines. So if you've joined one sprint and thought, this isn't for me, maybe try some other sprints. That is a snapshot of what sprints are about. It is loosely following the Pomodoro technique, which is a study technique. If you've been to uni or done any studying, you might be familiar with the Pomodoro technique. It is very much the bookish version of that, realistically, and it is designed to not only help you achieve whatever it is you want to achieve that day, whether it be more reading, more getting your to-do list done, getting work done, housework, whatever it is, but also it is a good way to communicate and find friends in the community and just generally have a community, join the community and be friends. So that is reading sprints. I do reading sprints. A lot of bookish channels will do reading sprints, and it is, if it's something that you're thinking about doing, starting a channel, it is a nice way to start a channel without having to learn how to edit and do all of this stuff. This is going to be a bit of a series on my channel of like how-to guides, not really how-tos, but like general like introductions to certain things that are booktube related. And one of the videos that will be coming up is how to sprint. So if that is something that you're interested in doing, I will show you a platform that I use, which is StreamYard. There are other platforms. It won't be sponsored or anything like that. It will just be how I sprint and give you like a starting point from seeing things from the other side of how to run sprints. So that will be coming up. If there's anything else that I don't cover in this video, feel free to pop it in the comments below. I'm happy to add more topics to cover to my ideas list, and we'll get to it as soon as I can. Next, we have just normal booktube channels that don't necessarily do sprints and what they offer. So obviously there's also going to be a lot of channels. I also do videos as well as sprinting. Some channels will only sprint, some channels will only do videos, and obviously YouTube is generally a more of a long form video situation. However, there are some booktubers that stick to sort of 5-10 minute videos. There's other ones that do hour-long videos. I try to keep mine sort of 45 minutes or less, As a general rule, occasionally I have longer ones, occasionally I have shorter ones. And if you go back on my channel, you'll see that I had much longer ones to begin with because I was still learning sort of my style and what I wanted to do with this channel. And so that is something you'll also see, is that newer channels may have longer videos, they may have shorter videos, they may be less edited, they may have less like lower sound quality or visual quality, but all of these things are, I feel, are what are unique and amazing about YouTube, is that it is about the connection that you're making with each other, the sharing of the love of books and things like that. That is what's unique, and everyone brings something unique to the table. And I love that because it means that we can move away, hopefully, easier said than done, I know, but we can move away from comparing ourselves to each other and just enjoy what each person brings to the table. So, okay, videos, obviously we've covered what to expect in terms of length. Again, I would recommend sort of shopping around, I guess, keeping an eye out for new channels, and just generally trying to find new creators every so often to add to your repertoire of people that you watch all the time. Just because everyone, like I said before, brings something slightly different to the table, is a little bit more unique. You might connect with one person's personality, you might connect with another person's way they speak about books, you might connect with another person's unique style of video. You know, there's so many different ways you can connect. And a way that you can show appreciation for that is by, obviously, you'll hear it all the time, like, comment, subscribe, all of them things. We don't say it to be boring. We say it because it genuinely does help us in the process of making videos. Yes, the majority of us will be doing videos because we enjoy making them, because we have this creative energy that we put into it, and it's something that adds something to our positive to our lives. However, we obviously would like people to watch our videos, and although a lot of us generally don't focus too much on the numbers because that can just be a bit of a mind messer, at the same time it is something that if people are liking a video, if people are commenting on it, that tells us we're doing something right in that area, and it helps us hone our craft a little bit more, if you like. It sounds a bit cheesy saying it like that, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, moving on, what else can you find in the Booktube space? So you can find readathons, challenges and things like that. You can also find connections to other communities within the larger umbrella of the Booktube community. So you might end up on Discords, you might end up on Storygraph challenges. If you're not already a Storygraph fan, I highly recommend checking out the Storygraph. I will link it below. Anyway, if you haven't already checked out the Storygraph, feel free to go ahead and do so. I will link in the description box below a video that I came across that explains how the Storygraph came about and how it was developed a little bit. It was really interesting, so if you fancy checking that out, it's in the description box, so you can do that. Also, you will find other platforms like Discord. There are, depending on the channel, there may be memberships available. If a membership is available, then you'll see a join button. I think it's around the subscribe button somewhere. And if you click on that, it will tell you what's included in the price and things. You're not necessarily, you don't have to join, if that makes sense. And channels that have memberships generally will still have a lot of content that's available for free. So it's never intended to be like something that you feel that you have to do, you know, in order to support a channel or enjoy or connect with people connected with that channel. What else did I want to... Okay, let's talk a little bit about memberships. Memberships, I do have memberships. You'll see that I have a join button below. I do also have a video on my channel put out when I launched them. It's a Grinch and Max themed memberships called Hermiville. Tooting my own horn here, but I do recommend watching the video because it explains where it all came from and stuff like that. But if you're new here, there's a whole backstory for it. Yeah, so memberships generally is a way that creators can put out extra content or extra perks that people pay for. And that just helps them keep the channel going. It may help them buy new equipment, or it may help them pay for streaming platforms, things like that. Things that all cost money in order to run the channel. But obviously in the beginning you don't have monetization until the first level. You have to hit 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours, which obviously takes time to achieve. That time is variable for each channel. There's some channels have been around 10 years before they've hit monetization. Some have only been around a couple of months before hitting monetization. So it really very much depends on so many factors. There's a lot of skills involved that you learn as you go with YouTube. I highly recommend it as a hobby, whether you intend it to become a monetized thing or not. Just because it really does, like, how it helps with confidence, it helps with making friends, it helps with learning new skills like editing, streaming, public speaking, creative thinking. So many skills that really come in that you don't necessarily think about in the beginning. They just naturally snowball in. Anyway, I'm just talking about how great it is to be on Booktube. At this point, this is not a surprise to anyone that I love it here. So let's move on to a Booktube dictionary that I've put together. I thought this was just a fun way. I've noticed that there's very specific words that in other contexts mean something maybe completely different. And I just thought I would... Okay, sorry if I have moved position a little bit. It's because I had to stop to put my phone on charge again because it was running low on battery. Anyway, Booktube dictionary, what have I got for you? So first we have, these are not in alphabetical order. I probably should have done that. Oh dear me. Anyway, the first one on my list, I've got shelf or book trophy. This is a physical book that you have bought, you've already read, you've either listened to the audio, you've read it on Kindle or some other e-reader. You really loved it and you just want it for your shelf. So it is effectively a shelf trophy. You've already read it. You may reread it, or it might be a special edition of a book that you already have that, you know, is just beautiful and you just want it to look good on your shelf. Okay, so sprints, we've got reading sprints. I've already talked about them and generally what to expect. With reading sprints, what I will add here is that a good way to do it is to make sure that you subscribe to the channels that you like to join in the sprints of, because then you should 9 times out of 10 be notified when they go live. So if they do like random pop-up sprints, which sometimes happens, or if you've missed them scheduling them, then you should still get notified. Next we have DNF, which means did not finish. This is what we obviously refer to if we've started a book and we didn't vibe with it for whatever reason. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's a bad book. It just might mean that it's a book not for you. And that is something that Booktube I think really helps with, is that I think before I was on Booktube, I wouldn't DNF a book because I felt guilty if I didn't finish a book I'd started, and I felt bad on the author. They'd put all this effort into making this amazing book and I'm just not vibing with it. What's wrong with me? It's nothing wrong with you. Not every book is for every person, and it's perfectly fine. It's okay. And joining the book community really helped me realise that. So DNFing is something that's pretty new to me. Some people won't. Some people are completionists and will, you know, fight to the death with this book to finish it, and that's fine. You know, whatever works for you, whatever means that you enjoy your reading the most. Some people like to hate read. I'm not saying I don't like to hate read. It does happen. I'm hate reading Fourth Wing right now. So we also have a soft DNF. That is a did not finish book that maybe you just picked up at the wrong time and you think, actually, this is a me book. It's just not me right now book, that you're just not in the right mood for it, or you're not in the right headspace, or it's something that's got some triggers that maybe you can cope with generally, but right now is not that day. So you'll put it down and come back to it at a later date, and that is a soft DNF. You may also hear that being referred to as a PDFN, which is a put down for now. If people don't want to say that they did not finish it and they want to refer to it as a not right now, it's a PDFN. You may also hear the term barnacle buddy read. Buddy read in itself is a term where you and a friend or a couple of friends will pick up the same book and read it at the same time. You may have it on a structured plan, a chapter a day or something like that. You may be taking it easy and just reading what you can when you can, if your readers have like read at different speeds and things like that, but you will chat along the way about that book. So it's buddy reading. A barnacle buddy read is basically where a couple of people have already decided they're going to buddy read it. Someone else hears about this buddy read and barnacles onto it joins in with the buddy read. This happens a lot in this community and it is perfectly encouraged and welcomed. We also have a very special one, Christina, that I mentioned earlier, that you'll see around in sprints a lot, came up with the term Mononi. Obviously, when you're sprinting on the internet, you're going to have people in different time zones. I might start sprinting in the morning, say good morning, but it'll be afternoon for someone else, or evening for someone else. So we came up with good Mononi, morning, noon and night. So it covers all of the time zones. So basically, it's just a time zone friendly way greeting for each other. We also have another Christinaism, which is fucksy. Fucksy is like if you deal with brain fog, if you're having just a bit of a slow day or you're feeling a bit distracted, we say that our brains are feeling a bit fucksy, or we're feeling a bit fucksy. You know, it's just you're not quite at your 100%, you know that feeling, right? We also use the word fuzzy a lot for this one. Next, we have bingo board. This is something that we obviously, I think a lot, if not all people have heard of a bingo board in relation to the game bingo. But this is in reference to a readathon. We have a lot of readathons and reading challenges that get created within this community where we'll have a bingo board full of prompts. I'll put an example on the screen here. Okay, so I'm going to put this example on the screen here. This is my friend Donna, Donna Marie Reads. I'll link her in the description box below. She does a 72-hour readathon every month with this style bingo board. It's a mixture of reading prompts and self-care prompts, and a lot of the bingo boards are that a little bit more relaxed. They're not competitive. There are also readathons that are competitive, that may have prompt drops where you don't know what the prompts are going to be before you get them. It may be based on a game and things like that. So there's a lot of readathons out there, and that brings us on to readathon. And what is a readathon? So readathons are effectively a challenge. They may be a weekend, they may be a 24-hour readathon, they could be a week, they could be a couple of weeks, they could be a month, they could be a year. The year-long ones tend to be called challenges rather than readathons, but they are effectively the same sort of thing. They can be competitive, as I mentioned before, where you may get prompt drops, there'll be more rules involved, there'll be points involved, it may be team-based, and just generally more competitive. And then you've got the more relaxed ones, which generally tend to be the bingo board style ones that I've already mentioned. They may just be a collection of prompts, like the Trans Rights Readathon, which is March, I think the 21st to the 31st of March, but they do their story graph challenge runs all year, so it's kind of a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more flexible, and works better with whatever you've got going on in your life. Obviously, life is changeable, especially over a year. There is readathons out there that will suit whatever lifestyle. Someone who reads a lot or reads 1 or 2 books a month, it really doesn't matter. There'll be something that works for you. So shop around with the readathons. Try ones that grab your attention, even if you think, oh, I don't know if I'm a competitive readathon person, or if you think, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to have time for this. Readathons are for fun. The main goal of them are fun. So nobody's checking up on you. Nobody's going to think bad of you if you don't complete something or anything like that. I do really recommend giving things a go, because sometimes things surprise you, and then sometimes you learn, no, definitely not for me. And either way, you find out for sure. And in the meantime, you make connections with new people, and you're just hanging out with other bookish people. Next, we have spinner wheel. I'm sure people have heard of a spinner wheel in terms of like game shows and things like that. But the Booktube community have I've noticed in the last few months especially, use it in many different ways. We might use it to help us with our productivity. So we might have all our to-dos and our books that we want to read that day on there, and we'll spin the wheel to decide what we're doing each sprint. We might use it as part of a readathon. We could use it to pick books for book clubs. Can use the spinner wheels may use it to pick books for book club. So there's lots of ways that we use the spinner wheel. Jen in particular, I will link her in the description box below, has really inspired a lot of us recently to be using the spinner wheel to use for our day-to-day. Take the responsibility of choosing what we're doing next out of the equation, and just let the spinner wheel decide. Put everything we need to do that day on the spinner wheel, and the spinner wheel decides. Honestly, it saves time, because how many of us spend a lot of time thinking, oh, should I do this next, or should I do that next? Oh, I don't know what to have for lunch. So it does really help with that indecisiveness, or if you just get tired of making decisions. We all get decision fatigue around here. So the spinner wheels are great for that. So that is all I've got for you today. Let me know in the description, let me know in the comments below if there's anything that I've missed, or if there's any questions that you have. I'm more than happy to answer them. Other people in the comments will probably answer them too. If you're new to the community, welcome. If you're not new, thank you for still being here. I really, really appreciate you. I love you lots and lots, like jelly tots. And yeah, see you around. Love you, bye.
Bye, love you.
So today's oh, I think that's my coffee being delivered. Cheers. Which is mo is morning, ni is night. No, we don't have bingo board.
I'm a book hermit, part of the Booktube crew, sharing my thoughts, connecting me and you. With every page a new adventure awaits, a community bound by the love we create. Grab a cup of joe, let's dive